Hello and welcome to the Creator's Garden. I'm called Harpy, and today we will be continuing working on The Actress's Tale, the current and latest installment of the Snapdragon Club webcomic series. And so far I believe we've been making some pretty good progress, so without further ado we'll go ahead and move on to the main camera. Alright, as you can see, we do have the panels already inked up, as well as the dialogue bubbles. So all that's left for me to do is to ink up the artwork of all the panels, as well as go ahead and color it all in. But of course, before we do that, we must protect our surfaces. So let's just make sure that's back there so that I don't forget when it is time to color. Because while these pages are really nice and sturdy, if I happen to color in a little bit darker than usual, or if any of my markers happen to be overfilled and it gets like splotches everywhere, then yeah, best to be safe than sorry. And hello, welcome. Goodness. Already got some people in here. Welcome, Mr. Repairman. Welcome, Dope. Glad to see you guys already here. I hope you guys have been doing well. How have you been? You wonder what it is you're using for PNG tubing? You can see different layers, which I wasn't sure was possible. So what I use is a PNG Tuber Plus, which does allow for rigging of separate layers for your PNG tuber, which is precisely why I went to go get it, because I very much like the idea of having, elements that can sort of have its own little animation, depending on, where they are and what they do. And of course I also try to make it a little bit more expressive. Like the more layers you add that move on their own, the more it kind of adds more, I guess, volume to the movement or something like that. And hello, Alfie. Glad you can make it. How often do I have to get a new protective sheet? Honestly, I have not needed a new protective sheet as of yet. But that's mostly because, every time I got, because these sheets that I personally got, came along with Ohuhu's products. So, if you got, their marker, a marker set, they'd give you, one of those smaller plastic sheets, like this size. But if you got their mixed media pads, it would come with the plastic sheet like this one. So because I've already gotten a couple of the marker sets and a number of the mixed media pads, I end up just getting a new plastic sheet anyways. So that I haven't I've been basically using all of them for all of my creative projects, so having a need to buy separate new ones. You've waited for the stream. If you have something happen and being surrounded by people. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, definitely, you know, take some time to chill and whatnot. You know, just feel free to relax. That's what the soothing music and chill vibes is for. You're gonna be working on character references while watching. Yeah. Yeah, character reference sheets are definitely very useful. I'm just super bad at like getting down to like actually making them. Just because it's like black character sheets. It's just like, okay, facing forward, facing backward, turn, you know, do the whole turn around. Do a couple of expressions. Put on some notable things you need to keep track of while, you know, if they're moving this way or that way, or certain items that they tend to carry. You're gonna work then do some line art? Ooh. Hope that goes well for you. But yeah, no, don't worry. Feel free to lurk, you know. Though, speaking of some of the chat commands, I did add one new experimental one because Stream Elements added a new thing that I decided to repurpose into something else. So, they added a thing where you could, like, give them, like, a list of quotes, and it would randomly choose a quote or whatever. Like, apparently their original intent for it was to, like, memorialize, like, funny stream things that happen. But I'm looking to try and repurpose it as, like, a way for people to, for those who are, like, new to the channel and are new to Harpy, the Creator's Garden, the world of Sanctus as a whole, to basically, like, catch up and see what little things that they can grab onto, what they would need to know, that sort of thing. So, the new command for that would be the exclamation lore command, which I have not tested out. Highly experimental. But yeah. Oh cool, it works. So there's that. Thank you for testing it. So yeah, there aren't too many variations of quotes. I think I put like 8 or some different quotes in there. Oh no, why is it Well, I guess it is random, but still, the fact that you guys got the same one, that's unfortunate. I hope it's not broken. Yeah, no, don't worry. No worries, Dode. I gotcha. But I should probably actually start, like, doing some art now. Whoops. And for those who are not familiar, I do have a tendency to just drop things off the side of the table. It's not the most conducive workspace. Very small. So sometimes when I'm trying to get at other things, things fall off, but it's okay. Let me just see. what pens I will need. They're all hidden away in here. Okay. I think this might be enough. I think so. Actually, I think what I'll do is I shall move. I shall move the markers over here. I'll put the pens on the other side for easier access. There we go. Autocorrect is a pain. Pen didn't want to be there. No, there is no escaping the art desk. I think I've been working on this comic for like at least close to a year by now, I feel, which is around like the same time frame that I worked on the Hunter's Tale, I believe. Although with the Hunter's Tale, that one was kind of a huge project because not only was I working on the comic, but I was also working on the comic dub simultaneously. So not only was I, inking and coloring pages and scanning them in, I was also looking for like voice actors, people to play parts, collecting, everyone's voice lines, and then having to put it in with all the sound design, and then putting it into the video editor to, have it match up with the panels. It was, for me, it was ambitious. But I think in the end I'm still like fairly proud of how it came out. I'm just reminded how Splatoon manages to keep the balance of simple stories and insane world building. So my brain just wants to ink it up once more. Look who's up bright and early. Hello, Fayrox. Welcome, welcome. Glad you can make it. Hope you're doing well. But no, my old fic was years in drabbling and cringe. I mean, look. We were all teenagers once. Some of us are still teenagers. And look, it's not going to be our best work, but that's not what's important during that stage. What's important is that we're having fun. We're having fun and we're not hurting anybody. That's what's important. So even if it turns out to be cringe, let it be cringe. It's okay. Like, people need to understand it's not just adults who know what they're doing on the internet, alright? It's a shared intergenerational space, unfortunately. Which is why we need to be careful about what we do and say on the internet. I've heard some advice on webcomicking is not to give 100% on every page. Many can get away with 50 to 80% of your effort. This seems like a wise way to prevent burnout. What do you think? Absolutely agree. Like, dude. You really think this is my 100%? Like, my 100% would be like closer to what you saw for the Transformers illustration that I did last stream. It's closer to that. Because then it's like, it's a still page, it's one picture. I can devote as much time as I want to all the nitty-gritty details and all that. But each frame is its own little picture. I can't spend that much time and effort making sure that it's all, you know, the prettiest it can be. So usually what happens is that my concern goes from making it like an absolute spectacle on every panel to only making it a spectacle when I want it to be a panel that the reader will linger on. Because most of the time when you're reading a comic, you're not like staying on one panel at any given moment for too long. You're staying there long enough to like get the gist, get the dialogue, and be like, okay, moving on, moving on, moving on. It's a little bit like animation in that sense, in that, you know, not every frame has to be, you know, super duper perfect, just enough to, you know, get across the action, get across the emotion, get across what you're trying to say in, you know, the like number of frames that are gonna go through. My cat was very sweet this morning. Aw, he loves attention late morning, early afternoon before he takes a nap, honestly. Aw. Even as a bird person, I think cats are cool. A lot of animals are really good, honestly. And cats especially are cute. And dogs, of course. I love them both equally, don't worry. You have your milk tea and it is delicious. Awesome. I too have my milk tea with me, but I know you've been working on your homemade recipes, which eventually, as soon as I have the ingredients for that, I will be trying them myself, altering them to my tastes. But yeah, I really do hope I can make my own milk tea one day, because I have tried for so long. so very long to try and make my own milk tea, and I just never find one that is like one that I want to drink all the time. Okay, yes, Stream Elements cannot use the lore. So, yeah, that's fair. Let's see if I can turn that off, actually. Shared space so much for MySpace. Oh, goodness. That was such a throwback. But also hush. Yes, my family has always had dogs. My dog right now is smart and sweet, but she is a Velcro dog. Aww. Aww. Poor pupper. I love all animals, but my family only let me have one animal. Yeah, that's fair. Used to guzzle herbal teas in college. Yeah. I'm not sure when I started getting into milk teas. It's because I know it was like later on, but like milk teas is just a recent development of mine. The cold brew has a really big impact on bitterness. Made a hot batch and chilled it, and it was too much. Ooh. 5 bags are also good per jar, but that depends on how much kick you like your drink to have. Interesting. going to try and leave as much white space as possible because right now I don't really trust my gel pens at the moment to like be as opaque as I need them to be. Let's see. But I think so far so good. Also, a quick volume check. You guys can like hear the music, right? Audio good, thank you. Oh yeah, no. Energy drinks, I cannot take that amount of caffeine. That is no bueno. Mostly drink Gatorade, Powerade, and water is your main drink. Yeah, over here it's I guess it's usually water, fruit tea, and milk tea. It is sort of the main thing. So if you ever do the hydrate command, you'll see the Borba tea. Or even if you summon Feather King, you'll see that he's usually carrying a milk tea on his head as well. Oh! See? Just like that. And also thank you very much both of you for the hydrate. Likely drink less than you should, but you're not dead. Yes. This is also a check for you guys. Please stay hydrated. I don't know if it's getting warm where you guys are at, but I think it might be getting a little bit warmer here in the Creator's Garden, so yeah, definitely looking to fill up the Borb baths just to make sure that the Borbs also stay cool and hydrated as well. rest of his body would be. We're all good. Oh yeah, 76 Fahrenheit where you are? Yeah. Pretty decently warm, I'd say. Okay. Now comes a slightly tricky part. Because I did sketch up some background elements in this, but the background elements are also super tiny, so yeah. Also, apologies for the times I go quiet. Sometimes I forget to keep talking while I'm in focus mode. And I especially need to focus when it's all these tiny details are concerned. It's like, yes, it's really cool and it adds to the scene, but it's also like, why do I do this to myself? Because I feel like, especially with Sanctus, because of how fantastical it is, I really do need to give much more information about it. Because, well, there are familiar elements to those, like, on Earth. There's still going to be a lot of parts that are strictly a Sanctus thing. Or, you know, just may not come as easily as if it weren't, like, a common knowledge thing. I feel like any little bit of information that I can give via the background usually helps with setting, like, what sort of place this is. For example, the current setting for, like, the majority of the Snapdragon Club comics, because the Snapdragon Club is in this city, is the city of St. Flora. And that one in particular is basically, its whole theming is around, like, garden variety vegetables and fruits and, you know, most things that can be grown in a farm. You know, sans any, you know, animal husbandry related things. But mostly the vegetation and fruits. And that's because Farmhand is the local fae of St. Flora. Let me see if I can find Farmhand really quick. So there's Farmhand right there. And basically, all their powers revolve around being able to make, like, the biggest and best, like, crops possible. Like, they cannot make, like, completely new seeds, but they're really good at, like, cultivating with the seeds that they get. If you're looking for someone that can make entirely new, like, breeds of plants and all that, that's what Forest Guardian does. But, yeah, Farmhand is basically the one, like, that gives St. Flora all of its charm. For instance, the buildings here are actually, like, giant gourds that have been hollowed out and then used to become, you know, buildings, homes, businesses, all that good stuff. mighty plants hush. What happens if the buildings rot? Good question. I mean, I say at this point, like, when the buildings are, like, fully formed, they're not, like, completely, like, wet inside anymore. They're more, like, dried out, so that the outside then becomes, like, basically as sturdy as, you know, any wood-based home or building would be. So you just fix it as you would, like, any normal wood-based building. Oh, thank you for the Headpat. Imagine the fairy magic, you'd start looking for rhymes for infestation. Oh, without fairy magic, you'd start looking for rhymes for infestation. Yeah. There is also that. It's like, they are magically grown things, so any, you know, usual things that may come with it, you can kind of like vaguely hand wave and be like, it's magical. It's magical. It's okay. The fairy magic will take care of it. Like, I try not to, like, have too many things be like, oh, it's just very magic, it's whatever. But at the same time, I'm not looking to, you know, cover every nook and cranny, just enough. Just enough. Also, is my PNG tuber frozen? Of course it is. And of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I was frozen today. I'm sorry. For those who know, I apologize. Alright. No worries. I'll just fix that really quick. There you go. See? No harm done. Don't apologize for quoting Christopher Lloyd. It's like, I haven't thought about that quote in forever, man. Oh no, the board vanished for a second. It's okay. I'm fine. I'm here. It's okay. Everything's fine. due to how my workplace is set up, I kind of need to like get up out of my chair to read chat. So that's why usually I'm not like drawing and reading chat while still being like right in frame. But hopefully that's all right. There's Stretch, and you think we'd possibly get a homemade bourba tea stream when after a certain milestone? I mean, what would that look like, huh? Like, making a milk tea doesn't take that long, and I feel like most of the time of making the milk tea, at least for me, comes from like just making the tea, and that's just waiting for it to steep and all that, especially if you're making like huge batches. It's just waiting for it to steep. Stretching my wings. Okay. We have to have good posture. Make fun little tapioca balls. POV similar to how drawing stream is. Fun thought on my mind, maybe. Eat milk tea. Well, it is a fun idea. Yeah, I don't think I have quite the setup to make that. Not to mention, I'm not sure if molded tapioca pearls can be a thing, or if I'd even be able to do it right, because I've never made tapioca pearls before. Like, if anything, I think the easier thing for me would be if I were able to get like a mold and have them be of like just a default Borb mold. It can just be a sphere with like two little protrusions to act as the wings. That can be the Borb. And then what I would do is that I could, instead of making tapioca pearls, I could put maybe like some grass gelatin in there. Make some grass jelly borba. Kind of like, I think there was this one recipe going around for like a giant boba, but in reality, it's just giant grass jelly. but because it's, you know, a giant dark sphere, it looks like a giant boba. So I think if anything, maybe that. But at the same time, it's like, again, I think most of the time would be spent waiting, and I'm not sure what I would be doing to fill the time. In Sanctus, what would be the best or favorite dish served at the Snapdragon Club? Ooh. My instant thought would be between two different dishes, which would be the pollo bowl or the creamy Alfredo. So creamy Alfredo is, pretty standard, cheesy Alfredo pasta type dish. Maybe it with some little bits of I don't know, oregano or something in one of those like parsley or something. But the pollo bowl is basically a chicken and rice with veggies bowl. Because in Sanctus, the types of chickens that are found here are called pollo. Not Pollo, but Pyo. And they're basically unicorn chickens. Almost done with the inking. Panel later. Alright. Let's see how much I missed out on. sidewalk in that panel, right? No worries, easy fix. Okay. So, let's see if we can get this lit up well. Here's the line art so far. Okay. With the line art done, that means it is finally time for coloring. I don't usually have any particular method for coloring per se, but I think generally speaking, I usually start with the things that I know what the colors are gonna be already. Speaking of colors, where did my shadow green go? Oh, it's right there. Kirby Pollo. Pollo! Yeah. How many seasons in Sanctus and how long do they last? Boring answer. It is, actually, no, I did do this, and it's 3 seasons. It's three separate distinct seasons. But one of them kind of happens twice-ish, based on how we do our how Earth does its seasons. And it's because they are also based around the 3 princesses. So, like, the sun sort of season would be the summer. Then you got the moon one being the winter. And then spring and fall kind of become like general, like they're just called the transition seasons. Paith is what the transition season is called. Yeah, I think it's Sol, Lune, Paith. It's been a hot minute since I wrote that down. And yay, kitty cat. Let's see. I'm gonna need to plug this in. And then this all charged up. Aw, Tuxedo Cat. I love those two. Those are good ones. That's all the yellow spots taken care of. Oh, no. I didn't finish coloring this. Here we go. And then light brown here. Actually, no. domestic short hair if you want specific breed. Yeah, those are cute. Biggest and Sanctus trivia is fun to ask for stream. Absolutely, but you know, completely understandable if, you know, people can't think of questions or whatnot. That's what the Sanctus Kara command is for, by the way. So it's like, if you want to ask about like Sanctus stuff but don't know like how to start or what to ask about, you can just generate a random character from Sanctus or the Snapdragon Club and you can just let me ramble on about them for a bit. When coming up with the different regions, what cultural influences helped shape the architecture for the world? Oh goodness. That's a little bit of a tall order. Because there are far too many like individual like cultures within each continent on their own that it is really hard to just like pinpoint a specific one at any given moment. And it doesn't help that most of them, you know, aren't quite relevant to the stories just yet. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head that comes up first is, hold on one moment. Let me just grab a map so it's easier for me to illustrate my point. So this is Sanctus, and most of the stories take place here. But Crystal, who is the protagonist of The Hunter's Tale, comes from this continent over here of Ryok. And it's a little bit similar to Osen, except Osen is mostly known for the Fae that live in the Enchanted Forest, whereas these guys have more of giant fauna as well as basically more or less human majority in terms of populations. Yeah, because humans are the minority over here. But they both have their own populations of basically dragons. But whereas these guys are more on the intellectual side, these are more gladiatorial in nature. They value, you know, strength and bravery and all that. Whereas the dragons who live here are more of, hey, we're just trying to live peacefully. If you want our gold, you can do some quests for us. You know, we can have commerce. We can have trade. And over here is basically, I think, what's easier for me to talk about is like the general genre of each continent, because that's what came up in terms of how I created them. Like, this is basically your fantasy fairy tale continent. This is your more modern fantasy, because there's much more like modern streets and cities and buildings and mostly human populations here, but also, you know, more modern tech as well. Whereas over here is basically the survival horror place. And this one, even though it's still basically under construction, this is basically the sci-fi type of place. And then, you know, there's oceans, there's islands. You never know what might be there. The most valuable resource in Sanctus. Depends who you ask. It really depends who you ask. I think humans would probably say that it's gold. It's the doubloons, which come from fallen dragon scales. The Fae would probably just say it's emotions, it's emotional energy, because that's what their magic is sustained off of. And then some hold like certain stones in like high cultural regard as well. Just because the three princesses who used to be the rulers of the Fae are basically on the level of being considered like goddesses in their own right. Oh, and there's a stretch as well. Stretching my wings. Actually, I think I will summon Feather King as well. Thank you, Feather King. Okay, I'm curious now. If I do the lore, will I get the same one? Oh, we got a different one. Cool. He. does Sanctus have Halloween? Yeah, it's Fright Night. And actually, there is like a little. You actually see a little bit of that in the Snapdragon Club grand opening comic, actually. And that's where you'll also see a cameo of Dolly. Who is also in the Hunter's Tale as well. There's Dolly, by the way. I know there are a number of people who are already familiar with Dolly, but for those who don't know, I know there are many people who are fans of her cuteness. Her and Vakshi appear to be the most popular characters in the Snapdragon Club series, as far as I can tell. But, you know, if you guys ever like give any of the tales a read, maybe you can let me know which characters are your favorite. Except Bayrox, I know who yours are. You don't need to say it. For those who don't know, Bayrox actually voices one of the characters in the Snapdragon Club comic dubs. So if you check out the Hunter's Tale, you'll be able to hear him. They all cute though. I don't say much on it, but yeah. I'm glad you think they're all cute. What is my favorite holiday to draw of Sanctus? That's a toughie because I haven't drawn too many celebrations or holidays so far, just because I do tend to make up some of them as I go along. But of the ones that I have drawn up so far, I would like to say that the Bee Memorial Day is my favorite so far. It's like kind of like a bee version of Dia de los Muertos type of thing. It's just super pretty, and I like the whole cultural aspect of just being able to come together with the ones you care about. And, you know, the bees are all about, you know, the whole, the hive, the community at large. Which is why even those who aren't bees are allowed to, you know, join in on the festivities so long as they help bring some offerings for the memorial stones. Then they can join in on the feast. Which again is another one that's shown in the grand opening comic. And I also did a standalone picture of it with Vakshi and Akasi, basically taking place on that very same Bee Memorial Day. The only holiday I have imagined for Toe and Turf, to be fair, is fairly recent, and that's Liar's Day. Ooh. Just a day where people compete to be the most convincing liar. Ooh. That sounds kind of fun. Although, I suppose it also can be a little bit dangerous, depending on the lies. It seems to be in a similar vein of like April Fools. The bees seem nice. Who doesn't love bugmen? And well, the bees are mostly nice now. They did have a bit of a tolerance issue in the past. Mostly because, you know, they're very protective of their hive, you know? And that mostly has to do with, like, the history of Saint Flora in itself. For this particular beehive anyways. Like, there are maybe a couple others sprinkled around the continent of Osen, but this particular hive decided to, like, set up right next to Farmhand. So, just to kind of vaguely illustrate it. Where are they? That's Oren. Where did I put Farmhand? There they are. So basically, like, Farmhand sets up their farm right in the middle of a field. The beehive sets up nearby, and they like their little like thing that they got going on, and where it's like, hey, they're making, you know, all sorts of different flowers and like vegetation and fruit trees and that sort of thing. And it's like, oh, those would be really great for our honey and various honey-based products or beeswax products. So they had a little thing going on for a while until, you know, more of the different anthrofolk and like mostly at this point it's the anthrofolk. So your snake people, your cat people, your dog people, your bird folk. Basically all those different types show up and they're like, hey, we were here first. They're like, wait, can we all just share? And they had a little bit of beef, and so Farmhand is like, hey, be nice. We can all share. And so that's how basically the hive becomes the foundation and basis of the jurisdiction inside of Saint Flora. So it's like, instead of, say, a mayor for the city, that it's the queen that's basically taking charge of all that types of responsibilities. The queen bee of the hive. And that's why there is also the bee guard, which is basically their law enforcement, and also the protectors of Saint Flora as well. So that's why eventually, when humans do show up, they're a lot nicer. Is the stinger still a thing that yanks the vitals out? Yes. And actually, that is something that Vakshi does quickly like mention in the grand opening comic. I've mentioned this in the past, that the grand opening comic has like a lot of various lore just sort of like shoved into it. But basically, for those who just want to know, yeah, the worker bees still have stingers, and it is still very dangerous to use said stinger. So usually workers will wear stinger caps. So that way they don't like accidentally sit somewhere and get their stinger caught on anything. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Drones have a different problem. But I am not sure if that is a topic I want to cover. And that is the wrong color. And I just remembered why I brought out the inking pen. There we go. That's why. Glad it's not shown. It would be disproportionately graphic even if it was insect innards not. Yeah. That is generally not a thing that I would want to show. And to be fair, like the use of stingers for like battle or self-defense would be very much a last resort type of thing. Like these are bee warriors. They are like the bee guard are trained in like other, you know, types of weapons, long swords, spear, you know, adjacent type weapons. So there would be almost no need for using the stinger unless it was like a one-to-one type of like sort of last resort trying to protect their comrades type of move. Idiot could have grabbed a pistol. Yeah. In Osen, in where, you know, Saint Flora is in where all the Fae are, you'd be a little bit hard pressed to find anyone with guns. That's more of a Ryok thing. And and also kind of adjacently a bog town sort of thing, but that's, yeah. Reminded of a bizarre Splatoon headcanon. Real octopi tend to neglect themselves, protecting their eggs, yeah. What if this led to very worried husbands being caretakers for octoling months? Probably. What good is lead in the land of magic? Well, it depends on the situation. That's all I can say. It's like, I'm not saying they're completely useless or anything. But it's like, if that's all you got, then, you know, sometimes it'll work. Will it always work? Again, depends on what the situation is. Because it's not like everyone has access to, you know, super high level magic or anything. Which is why the Bee Guard are still using, you know, long swords and spears. But also, the threats that they're currently facing are a bit newish to Sanctus, so they're not the people in the continent of Osen are a little bit less prepared for any big threats than, say, the people in Ryok. Lead and Sanctus, does that mean I can build an RBMK reactor? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Are you gonna explain to me? Nuclear energy plant, most infamously known. Like, technically you could, but like Ryok also has like the whole solar panel thing going on, so They're pretty good on power. Well, speaking of electricity, Saint Flora, I believe, uses a mix of like water wheels and windmill to generate electricity for their city. Okay, I'm thinking. Where did I put the super light gray? There we go. Thinking I can use that to just kind of. Enhance the glow effect a little bit. Then while I'm here, might as well shade the little fog clouds a little bit. And stretch. Yeah. Goodness, has it been 2 hours already? next time this black runs out of ink, I'm going to switch out this nib because it's a little bit too frayed for my liking. New flavor acquired. Had a new batch with French vanilla creamer instead of the caramel. Not a big fan in the beginning until I put lemon juice. The lemon juice mixed with the vanilla creamer now. Thinking meringue for some reason. Yeah, that does kind of sound like meringue. Mostly right now just trying to mark which colors go where because I am trying to keep it as consistent as possible for the background. It's very like meringue. Luckily, didn't overdo the lemon juice. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish this second panel up here, and then once that's done, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm assuming you mean dessert with 2 S's? Because I think according to my map, there's only like 2 main desert areas, which would either be in Osen or Riak. And I haven't thought up too much about those places just yet. But as for desserts, I believe the most divine. I haven't thought about it too much, but I want to say it's some type of like magical egg pudding. That's the first thing that comes to mind. That sounds splendid. Yeah. It's been a while since I had egg pudding. That's also like one of the many toppings that I like having in milk tea as well. But I have basically finished this second panel, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that break. The fishing minigame will still be up for those who'd like to get some fishing in. Hopefully we can afford to get another item net so we can get more of those like special items. I just looked over the manual and it says we can get some biomes, but also the items only last for like 15 minutes, so I'm kind of hoarding them for now until we can get like more people in chat who can make the most use out of them. So probably for the Tuesday streams. But yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take that break and I'll be right back. Hope you guys get some snacks and drinks as well. And I'll see you soon. Okay, sorry for the wait, but I'm back. And I think I've decided that today is just going to be a single page type of day. It's been really slow going for just this page alone. And I don't know if it's because I've got Muse for other things currently, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a very lethargic type of day. This marker might be drying out a little bit. Put this off to the side to fill that up later. Well, yeah, as long as we're making at least some progress today, I'm content with that. And I hope you guys who are watching the VOD are having a good day as well. Or, barring that, I hope things get better for you. Yes, I'm back. Got to run for now, but you have a good one? I'll do my best, and thank you for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to have you. Just double checking to make sure that I got all the spaces where this color would be needed. And I think so I think we're good. This one. I'm thinking I'm trying to add more purple to where I think it should be shaded before I add more of this darker red. Stretch. Uh-oh. Is my PNG tuber frozen again? Yes, it is frozen again. Goodness. And just at the tail end, too. Okay, well... There we go. And there we go. Can't believe we've been going so long that my PNG tuber crashed twice. But that's okay. Just about done. Except for that part of the sky that I need to color in. That's pastel. Where did I put the sky blue? Right here. this page is complete. And like I said, I think this is where I'll be ending stream. Because even though I do have a couple more pages up in the works, I think that's as far as I'm willing to go for today. Which is just as well. It'll just give me more time to sketch out more of the backlog. Because as far as I've gotten with the story, and even though it is technically near the end, I still haven't drawn up the end. Like, I know where it's going. I know how I want to end it. I know, you know, the basic plot points of where I want it to go. I just haven't put it on paper yet. But just as a quick little sneak peek here. This is the next page, already inked up, at least in terms of the panels and the word bubbles, which I did have to put some stickers on there just to cover up some mistakes, because I did do some mistakes. And sometimes coming up with dialogue is a little bit difficult because, like, I want it to push the story forward, but I also want to, like, insert the necessary lore needed for it to make sense. But yeah, aside from this, I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 are ready to be inked, I believe. The other 3 pages are in their super rough stages that I still need to, you know, sketch out more concretely before I start inking. But yeah, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for joining me, whether you were in chat or watching the VOD later on. I appreciate all of you. And this is the part where I ask that if you haven't already, leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you already have, thank you so much, I appreciate you. And if you're feeling super duper generous, I got the Ko-fi link right up there. And not only can you buy me a boba or become a visitor of Sanctus and get a board attributed to you, but you can also get some cute stickers, which I've been showing off during the stream. They can either be these characters from the Snapdragon Club series, or they can be of Harpy, in my Harpy form or my Princess Borb form. But there's also like free Borb emojis on the store as well, so even if you don't plan on buying anything, just checking it out is cool. But yeah. So with that being said, thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. See you later. Bye.